If your love for the Royals is as strong as a ninth-inning comeback, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Around the Ballpark podcast with your hosts, Mike and Darren Redmond. Tonight, we're hanging out with Jacob Millam from the Royals Rundown podcast. We're dishing out the latest on the Kansas City Royals 2025 season and recapping their epic playoff run in 2024. And hey, who doesn't love a good old trip down memory lane? We'll sprinkle in some classic Royals history that'll have you feeling all nostalgic. So grab your peanuts and Cracker Jack, folks. This is one lineup you don't want to miss. Let's get into it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Around the Ballpark podcast. My name is Mike Redmond, alongside my brother, Darren Redmond. I almost said my partner in crime, but we're not committing any crimes, so we're perfectly good people. And we are live here. It is Sunday night, February the 16th. How are you doing tonight, Darren, in this mid-February already?
Well, I have to tell you something. First of all, it's baseball season, so I'm doing great. Second of all, I love our Sunday nights. I love this. We go live. We talk sports. We talk about, we usually have with one centered topic, but yet much like you do when you're driving to the ballpark, we talk about other stuff as well. I love it.
It's the best. It is definitely the best time of the year. I was fortunate enough to get my first and maybe only spring training ticket to a game on St. Patrick's Day, which is important to me. That seems to be the day that somehow I always wind up at a ballpark. So I love it. So I was able to get tickets to go see with the wife to go see. It'll be Tampa Bay at the Mets in Port St. Lucie. So,
oh wow, win-win.
So I think we're in the upper section, row 8 or something. So good seats, and you can definitely tell the Juan Soto effect in the pricing. I can't imagine what the parking's going to be when we get there. But
I have to ask, what does a preseason game ticket go for these days with the Mets?
So preseason game ticket. So any primetime one, meaning a good opponent or a weekend game. So the Rays would be considered a good opponent. Right now is going for $35 for a ticket. If you're doing like a Tuesday game against the Marlins or the Nationals, I've seen tickets go for $18 to $22 is cheap starting, but the $35 seats that we got were upper section, but if you would have sit in the bleachers or in the home run area, I think it's like a little bit cheaper. But yeah, you're looking at $35. And then if they play the Yankees, the Red Sox, it's closer to $54 a person. And then you have to figure in parking and concession and all that kind of stuff. So it's not as cheap.
So there's tiered pricing in spring training.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so sometimes spring training games can cost more than a regular season game, depending on the opponent and stuff. And I think it's because you're closer to the people on the field and all that sort of thing. So I think that's the reason for it. Not 100%, but that's my guess if I had to guess. But before this episode, we're going to talk baseball. Of course, we're going to talk Kansas City Royals. Our guest Jacob with the Royals Rundown podcast. Hoping he can pop on. Some technical difficulties, I think, on his end. So if he does pop on, we'll have him on. If not, we are more than ready to talk Kansas City Royals baseball. If you are here with us, thank you for joining us. If baseball is not your thing, the Royals are not your thing, just hang out with us and ask us questions anyway. We appreciate that you're here. We are
have a surprise thing for us to do together too, by the way. I have a surprise, yes. Baseball related.
Yeah. We got to do some baseball episodes, right? We are just over 20 subs away from being at the 1,800 subscriber count. So continue to support us. We appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. But before we dive into it, Darren, will you mind sharing this nice banner at our bottom of our screen in the royal blue?
I love that scroll in that blue. Yeah.
You wouldn't mind sharing about Nashville Tax Solutions. And then a little bit after that, they've got an exciting venture that they're sponsoring as well. So we'll start with Nashville Tax Solutions and dive into that. But
Attention Palm Bay and Fort Pierce. Are you struggling with tax issues? Whether you're behind on your filings, dealing with a lien, or just need expert guidance, Nashville Tax Solutions is here to help. Their team knows the ins and outs of tax relief and is ready to fight for you. But don't just take my word for it or Mike's word for it. Listen to their clients and what they have to say. Chris Bennett and his team saved me from a financial nightmare. They're knowledgeable, they're clear, and compassionate. So don't let tax troubles keep you up at night. Call 855-627-4829. Visit NashvilleTaxSolutions.com or email info@NashvilleTaxSolutions.com today. Nashville Tax Solutions, because tax problems deserve a real solution.
Yes, well said. And I see my wife is here representing Facebook. Hi, Boo. Welcome to the show. We just shared Jacob is running a little behind, so hopefully, which is our guest, he'll pop on. If not, it'll just be the two of us talking Kansas City Royals. But with that said, Darren, before we move on, thank you so much for sharing about Nashville Tax Solutions and exciting about their new location. We also have a fun sponsorship opportunity that they're taking part of that we just want to share with you, our listeners, that's coming up very soon.
Did you hear about the Chase Your Tail 5K sponsored by Halo? It's going to be on April 5th. You know about it?
I do know about it, but I don't think anyone else does. But I'm excited about it, and I think it's exciting to see what Chris's impact and Nashville Tax Solutions impact on the local community as they're able to do these events. As they, it's going to be exciting. But go ahead and give us the details. But I'm really excited about it, and I.
Listen, we
found out about it a little bit ago, but I'm excited to share this with the listeners.
We all love our pets, right? And we love to help, and we love health. And what a wonderful merge in helping our canine friends and our health. And what a beautiful way to start the day. April 5th, 2025, 7:30 in the morning. Registration is just $35, which is nothing when you think about it, right? I mean, and a pack price, so which means pack dogs get it. If you bring your friends, a pal, an associate, a chum. Do we even use the word chum anymore? We should. I'm bringing it back. So that's the $30 price if you and a friend want to do that together. It's sort of a 2 for plus. But join Halo and the rescues for the 8th annual Chase Your Tail 5K. That's 8 years in a row. This is going strong, getting bigger every year. Supporting the No Kill Rescue. This event is for runners, walkers, and their dogs. And I have to tell you, people, I don't get political about anything, but I love a nice no-kill shelter, right? I mean, I really do. They will find a home, or at least make sure that animal is treated well with the dignity that anything breathing should have. This race starts at Sebastian's Community Center and travels along the beautiful Indian River. Ooh, I like that. Participants will enjoy music and entertainment before and after the race, as well as energy infusing breakfast bar. So come on, right now, it's great. If I was down there, I would do that. But it's so darn cold here in Cape Cod. I'm going to do the wave.
Yes,
what a wonderful.
And I will make sure for those of you watching, we will put a description and a link under this video after the live stream. So if you like what you heard, or maybe you're watching this after the fact, we'll have that info there for you. So you can put that on your calendar. I'm not sure my availability, but if I am free, I'd definitely like to attend that. Yes, Eileen mentioned she'll probably come home with 5 more cats. But thank you, Christopher Bennett, for putting that together and just continuing to make this, what you do for the community, helping out so many folks with what you do in Nashville Tax Solutions. But we are very grateful for you and the company and the team that you have under you. And so thank you so much, and looking forward to hearing about how that event goes. Please definitely keep us posted. I'm sure you're watching. So thank you, Chris and team. And so like I said, the beginning of this podcast, our guest, Jacob, is having some technical difficulties. So if he's able to pop on, he will. But if not, we are ready to talk about the Kansas City Royals. If you are here, first and foremost, we are a baseball-related channel, although we do talk about everything else under the sun. With spring training starting in less than 5 days for some of the teams, We are going to get into some baseball podcasts here. So excited for that. So Kansas City Royals, Darren, last year, this is a team that won 30 more games than they did in 2023. That's a 30-win improvement, which just doesn't happen in Major League Baseball. So this is a team that exceeded expectations and went into the playoffs in a division with some stacked teams between Minnesota and Cleveland as well, and, of course, Detroit. So that was a four-headed division with the poor White Sox giving it their best try in the gutter in that division. But the Kansas City Royals, great team. And so if you want to go ahead and start and just what you took most out of their 2024 season in general, where they literally came out of nowhere.
This is an organization that is just fundamentally sound. Now, they don't have the money that the big clubs have. But, hey, look, they're only 9 years, and 9 years is not a long time, people. They're 9 years removed from a championship World Series, and they unfortunately are in one of these situations where when the free agents that they have, the star players, they might end up going someplace else. So they have to continually replenish the team. And sometimes the farm system may look like they get ahead or not. But they are able – you cannot win 20 more games than the year before by accident. Fundamentals. They don't make mistakes. They're mentally tough. There's no situation that's too big for them, and they compete, and they're strong up the middle. We'll talk about that later. But that's why they're able to do that. It's not that surprising that the Royals were able to have a 20-win turnaround.
Yeah, and the reason for their use of 20 but 30 win turnaround is gives you hope. For if you're a fan of the Chicago White Sox and you're just depressed with life and want to get away, I encourage you to give your team a chance. Maybe they're not going to get that 30-win improvement.
30.
I know they had like 5 wins last season, something like that. Now, I always send you this information, and around the ballpark, we do not advocate for betting or any kind, but just throwing this out there. Maybe you are a listener that might be your thing. So a lot of times when people, you take odds on things, it's 1 in a million, so I'm going to put money down, but I'm probably not going to win. As a reminder, folks, there are only 30 teams in Major League Baseball, and one of them is the Chicago White Sox. And as bad as they were, and they were bad, they were the worst team in the history of worst teams. But if you put $100 bet right now on the Chicago White Sox to win the 2025 World Series, and they do win the World Series, you get $40,000 as your payout right now. So just by putting down $100. So I will not be partaking in this activity because that's a bad choice, but it is a 1 in 30 opportunity instead of a 1 in a million. So if that is you, if you're a guy or a gal that wants to put $100 down on the Chicago White Sox and want to say, hey, I told you so, that could be your thing. But just had to throw that in there because
no, I get you.
It's a little fun. But the point is that even though they were as bad as they were, the Royals in 2023 had 58 wins and now, or 56 wins. And then a year later, now they're at 86 wins in the playoffs. So you look at the White Sox, if they improve by 30 games somehow, they would be much more into the discussion.
They would have 35 wins.
Yeah, 35. Yes, that's true. So let's dive in. And if you guys are here with us, we see several of you on X and Facebook, YouTube, and you're not a Royals fan, but you have any questions for us, go ahead and we'll get to those as we go. But we got a few things we want to talk about here. So I want to start by this, Darren, looking at the 2025 Kansas City Royals. So the team that's coming up this year. So let me go over a couple of names with you guys real quick. So some notable subtractions. Adam Frazier is no longer with them. Now he's with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Brady Singer traded to the Reds. Paul DeJong. And then Tommy Pham, who was a Ray for a little while, one of our favorite Rays back in the day, was no longer with them as well. But they did get second baseman Jonathan India in a trade with Cincinnati. So that's a huge pickup for them. Great top of the order guy. Carlos Estefes, Michael Arinzin as well were added to their team or re-signed with their team. So some notable things there. But let's start with that rotation and what stands out to you, because I'm looking at this and there's a few guys on there that if you're playing them in a short series in the playoffs, that's a scary rotation. So if you wouldn't mind, let's start with the rotation, your thoughts on the rotation this year and just how dominant they are, because I know they're not a big market team, but this is a pretty good rotation.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, that's a wonderful thing because that just triggered me in a good way about if they get into the playoffs, right? Your first round is what? Best 3 out of 5?
Mm-hmm. First round is best
2
of 3.
2 out of 3. Yeah, 2 out of 3. They're going to beat you because you get Michael Wacha, you get Seth Lugo, you're probably in reverse. Though I would put Wacha first and then Seth Lugo shut it down. They're going to beat you. Their pitching is stronger than you think. Their relief pitching is presentable. And they don't make fundamental mistakes. They don't get up there swinging for the 6-run home run. They know how to play ball. They play what we used to call National League Baseball, right? The person's on first base, they get the guy over, they move him over. They go base to base when they have to. They're not afraid to steal a base. They are fundamentally sound.
Yep, they are fundamentally sound, and this is a team. Again, we're looking at the list here. We got Cole Reagans is the ace of that staff, left-handed pitcher. He's a stud.
Mm-hmm.
Seth Lugo, those of you familiar with him, a former Met, started off 11-1 last season, finished with a great record. Michael Wacha feels like he's been around for quite a while. Michael Lorenzen and Chris Bubic rounding out that rotation. So that is a scary rotation to play.
And Bubic coming off that Tommy John surgery, you never know. I mean, these are the guys you don't know. Yep. He could be somebody that can really do the job.
What do you call it? Oh, and I did just a heads up to our listeners. We just heard from Jacob. The internet went down at his location, so he's working on getting it back up. That was the holdup, lost power, internet's down. So if he's able to get on, he will. If not, I'm sure we'll have him on again. We'll make that up to him and try to have him on. So, but as we dive in, so looking at that lineup too. So Bobby Witt Jr. is one of baseball's kept secret. If you don't know who he is transcending the game, Major League Baseball. If you've heard of Mike Trout, you kind of looking at this guy similar. He's a 5-tool ball player, which means he does everything correctly. He is their shortstop. He was a runner-up for MVP. Only been with the team for a cup of coffee, which means not for that long. And he's already setting some records just in a short amount of time. But the one that stands out to me the most about Bobby Witt in that lineup is he's only 42 home runs away from being in the top 10 all-time list for home runs with the Royals. And I believe he's been in the league for just about 2 or 3 seasons. So that's insane.
Everybody agrees that this person, he's still arching up. It's not like he's even leveled off. He's getting better every year.
Yeah, getting better every year. And you just hope, baseball is better. What do you call it? Baseball is better if more teams are competing and stuff, but baseball is better when a player stays on the roster. And what you don't want to see here is as soon as he's a free agent, he goes to one of the big money teams. Like you want to see guys like this, guys like, on the guy from Cincinnati, Elly De La Cruz. Like you want to see guys like that stay with their team. And so hopefully they can realize like, this is our guy and I don't care what we have to do. Let's make sure he stays here. Because what you don't want to have, like I saw something, and I know it's not related to the Royals, but I saw something where Max Scherzer, who signed for 15 years, 1-year deal with the Blue Jays, and it's a 4th starter, but he's owed, thankfully the Mets don't owe him any more money, but he's owed, I think it's between the Dodgers and the Nationals alone, like $52 million he's still owed just from those 2 teams all the way up through 2028. That's not including money from the team he's currently on, folks. We're talking about two teams he used to play for years ago that still owe him $52 million. So the Royals, you don't want to see them in that position, but we need to pay Bobby Witt before he goes for arbitration. They need to lock him up. He is a franchise player, once in a lifetime player right there. So hopefully they get that done. But if you look at that lineup, what stands out to you on there? I know there's a few names, but what do you like about their lineup so much? And is this a lineup good enough to compete for another playoff spot this year?
I think so. I think they will compete for a playoff spot. I think the key is that they don't have a lot of depth, right? Let me start there and work my way back to your question. I mean, their depth is Hunter Renfroe, who, he's played for 97 teams in 4 different sports, right? I mean, how many?
Pretty much.
Yeah. So no, but I mean, look, they got a guy got 97 RBIs last year, and Vinny Pasquantino. I mean, they got Witt. They got a lot of guys. Yeah, I mean, they
Vinny
just got Vinny Castino. They got Salvatore Perez. They got a solid team. They're solid. They're a solid B all around with a couple of B plus A minus players.
Yeah, and this is a team. This is a team with 4 teams out of 5 that were competitive, that were in the race to the playoff spot with the second to last day of the season. So it came down literally to the wire in this division, and that's one thing we love about the wild card and the added wild cards is a lot of times back in the day, the season by July, you knew who your division winners were, and you were kind of playing a lot of meaningless games. It's important to be playing meaningful baseball in October or in September. And not to have that division wrapped up, because if history showed us anything, is if you've wrapped it up by August, you don't play meaningful games in September 9 times out of 10, unless you're the $700 trillion payrolled Los Angeles Dodgers. You're probably not going to compete very far with that much time off. So diving into the Royals just a little bit more. That lineup, it looks great. Of course, mentioned Hunter Renfroe, a guy who seems to be on every roster there has been over the last 10 years. So that's a guy that he's been around. He's got.
But you love a guy like that. You love a guy like that, don't you? Yeah. Every team needs a guy like that.
Yeah, and it's okay to have 1 or 2 guys like that. You don't want your entire roster being guys like that, but it's good to have someone like that. Now we know he's not going to hit for high average, but he's got a lot of power. He's going to drive in some runs. Michael Massey at DH. Miguel Garcia toward the third base towards the bottom of that lineup. And like Darren mentioned, Salvador Perez seems like he's been on that team for forever. I think 14 years. Yep. So, and then MJ Melendez in left field as well. So super good there. So I want to just diving in a little bit, just some fun stats about the 2024 Royals. So their starters had a 3.55 ERA last season. So that was the second best ERA total in all of baseball. So that's awesome.
What do we talk about? Seriously, what do we both talk about with the short series? I said 3 out of 5. Like you mentioned, the first series is really 2 out of 3. When you're facing a pitching staff like that, you're in trouble, Phil. Right?
Yeah, you're in trouble. Now, let me ask you this, just because we're on the postseason. Would you ever entertain, and probably when I say this, I'm talking about the 5-game series or a 7-game series, not a 3-game series. But one thing that happens is you line up your ace versus their ace, and then game 2 it's 2-2 and 3-3, right? Would you ever entertain if you had that much confidence in your other guys? Like I always thought, like, yes, you don't want to start the series going down 0-1, but like if you could figure out, okay, I'm going to have the best of the best in the bullpen lined up, and I might go with my 3 or 4 starter in game 1 instead of my ace. And I know it's outside the box, but I always thought that's the way to go. Like if you can get to the 5th inning with that guy, and then the bullpen gets you there, now all of a sudden games 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they're chasing you. And what we say, if you're on the road in the series, on the first 2 games, you win 1 out of 2, right? So if you do that and it doesn't work out and you don't win game 1, you win game 2 because your ace is pitching against their 2. Now all of a sudden, every single game the rest of the series, they're playing catch up. So that's something I always would like to say, that if I had the ability to do.
I think you're right, and shame on me for not remembering the name of the guy who played for the Boston Red Sox first base, and he was on the MLB Network as well.
Was that Kevin Millar?
Yeah, Kevin Millar. Remember the great speech by Kevin Millar saying we're down 0-3 when the Red Sox were down to the Yankees 0-3, and they came back and won 4 straight. He says, but don't let us win tonight, because then we got him, and we got Schilling, we got Pedro, and then we got who knows in game 7. And that's what happened. To your point, I'm a big believer in what you said. Start with in a 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 7, start with the back end of your starting rotation. Because if you're able to win those games, now you're going to face their less effective pitchers against your better pitchers. Like put your foot on their throat when you can.
Yeah, I love that, because now if you don't do that and you're down 0-1, it's like, oh, now we got to face this one. Now I got to face that one. Now, obviously, it's a little different if you're playing a team like the Dodgers, who just seem to just make money in their backyard. But they're another they're an anomaly. So as we talked we talked about the 30-win improvement, and it's their first postseason berth since that 2015 team. So it was definitely a success. One of their negative sides, one of the downsides, which we're going to get to in just a minute, is actually not so negative, but they are 27th out of 30th ranked in the farm system. And that's actually not so much a negative thing for this team. For some teams, yes, you don't want the Yankees, the Red Sox, all those teams. But a team like this, 27th means that their farm system is so good that they're able to sustain them at the major league level and not give them away to every other team once they're major league ready. They're able to hold on to them, not like the Marlins, right? But so this is a team that holds on to those guys. And yes, they have your Hunter Renfroes and Jonathan Indias that complement, but most of these guys in the lineup are homegrown guys, especially in the rotation. So that's not something. And those that may not know, the top prospect, his name is Jack Caglianone, I believe. So he's the top guy at first baseman, but they also have two other catchers that are in the MLB top 100 prospects, Blake Mitchell and Carter Jensen as well. So some guys, even though they're not ranked that high, they're still got 3 top 100 players in their system. So that'll be major league ready by 2026. So I believe they're going to be good for a good amount of time. It's definitely as long as they have Bobby Witt Jr. on their team. But do you agree with that in terms of that?
100%. I'm going to pack that a little bit more because I can speak pretty eloquently about that situation. But first of all, you just mentioned, and folks, I want you to listen carefully to what he said. He's spot on. That they have 2 catchers in the top 100 prospects. They have a 14-year vet, Salvatore Perez, who's still behind the dish right now. So when he's ready to leave, they have 2 of the top prospects coming right in. You know, and again, what metrics are they using to say top 20, worst, best? Because this I know about. I covered the Fresno Grizzlies for many, many years when they were a AAA team and a single A team. And I remember talking at length to the developmental people with the Colorado Rockies, because the Grizzlies were, the last year that I was there, were the single A team for the Colorado Rockies in the Pacific Coast League. And they would tell you winning and losing has nothing to do with it. Their job is to promote and move people. So if they wanted to win games and look like they were doing great on the stat sheet, they'd keep people down. So you can kind of fudge the numbers that way. So, for example, I'm the quote-unquote crafty left-hander, right? I'm going to go up to, say, even AA or AAA even, and develop an off-speed breaking pitch. They're just making stuff up as I go. I'm going to get slaughtered and look real bad for a while. And if you are sticking the thermometer in there, you're going to say, not very good, not good. Again, the pitching isn't that great. No, I'm working on things. It's like they do in spring training, right? You go to spring training a lot more than I do. Oh, by the way, how was going to the backfield? Did you go?
No, I decided not to go because my body was like, slow down, take a day.
Good
so
for
I
you.
did not go. But the good thing is I still have plenty of opportunity, so it's not a lost cause. And actually where I live is a little bit closer to the stadium than it previously was. So I'll hopefully still get that experience because I don't think I have anything planned next Saturday. So because they still do it on the games, the days they have spring training as well. I did notice their opening game for a lot of these teams are obviously it's the first game, and then that goes for the regular season as well. But I believe the Royals are one of the first teams to have a spring training game this February. So they're starting in February, not March this year. So that's kind of exciting. So.
Well, that's great. So speak to that maybe a little bit, because you see it firsthand. You go to the backfields or a spring training game, that pitcher might look lousy because they're working on things, whether it's a different delivery motion, a different slot angle, this, that. So when I hear that these statistics or what people say in terms of rankings, I take it with a grain of salt because you don't know what's behind those numbers. That's all. And that's coming from play development people I've spoken to, from the Houston Astros the year they won the World Series. Developmental people from the San Francisco Giants when they won 2 World Series in 3 years. We had Matt Cain there I saw playing the minors. I saw Buster Posey, Tim Lincecum, all playing the minors. And like I said, even up to this past couple of years with the Colorado Rockies A-ball. So you got to take those kind of rankings with a grain of salt.
Yeah, especially and then also the preseason or the spring training numbers and standings. I've seen
Yes.
plenty of teams at 5-21 do just fine once the season starts because they're playing with things. You know what's more important at the backfields. What I look for is the pitcher talking to the catchers. Are they getting, they have that chemistry? Are they just joking around with the other pitchers? Like pitcher to pitcher camaraderie is great and all, but like I want to see, because a lot of times some of these teams, the starter, the ace has a different catcher sometimes than the other pitchers do. So I like to look at that. I like to make my way around because each of the fields are working on different drills, different things. So yes, they have the cages over here and they have starter pitchers over here, but they got infield drills here, outfield drills there. And so you want to see how that's developing, how those conversations going, that sort of thing. But you're so close. I mean, you're within arm's length of the fence and getting to see it. It's awesome. And they don't charge you to do that, to go to those backfields. It's free. You just got to get there when they start. And you don't want to be a heckler. You don't want to, get an autograph or whatever, awesome, or a picture, cool. But they're there putting the work in and trying to get in ready for season mode and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, don't let those numbers, spring training, fool you too much. What I am concerned about is if a player puts in a full spring and they start off 2 to 3 weeks slow in the season, that worries me a little bit more because it seems like they're going to have a streaky season. Usually most, you separate now there are some exceptions, like as great of a season as Francisco Lindor had last year. And it was great. There was a bit of a struggle early on, but nothing like 2023. That was rough in terms of the longevity of his struggles and stuff. But most people, by the end of spring training, once they start playing 7-8 innings, that's the other thing too. These spring training games, your starters are playing 3 innings for the first 2 weeks and sometimes 5 innings. So, you get there. Oh, I saw Shohei Ohtani today. It was 0 for 2. Well, maybe he only had 2 at bats, and
right.
Whereas later in spring training, he's going to get 4 or 5 swings. So, and the lineups look completely different in spring training. You're not going to have the pitch, the protection in the lineup. Even like if you're looking at the team like the Royals, most likely if they're on the road, they're not sending this roster. I think the major league rule is that you have to send 2 major league players on the road, and that could be 2 relievers. It doesn't have to be 2 starting lineup people. So, the Yankees are known for that, for just sending the same 2 people to every road trip and keeping all their top guys in Tampa when they have spring training.
Makes sense, though.
Yeah.
So there's 2 things that I want to mention, and one is pump the brakes, people. Do I see a T-shirt that might say, around the ballpark? Is that what I see?
Yes, this is the Around the
Ballpark
Podcast T-shirt prototype version 1. And
love everything about that.
Yes, I approve. So I will be looking into getting more of those shortly here. So I got the coffee mug and the shirt just to kind of see how it looks, and I approve both. So shout out to wherever I got them from. I don't even remember, but it's nice. So thanks for the call.
I want to be very careful the way I say this, because you spend a lot of money to go down to Florida, to go to Arizona, and to park and buy food or whatever. Whether you go to the backfields where it doesn't cost anything, but where you go to a game. But let's talk about just the backfields even. I heard Tony Stewart talk about this when he was a racer. Please remember that these people are at work. They're at work.
Yeah.
And so I know you're yelling their name 5,000 times, but they're not rude if they're not really acknowledging you. They have a job to do. And by the way, without being dramatic, one has to look no further. Not that this had anything to do with fans, but if they take their eye off what's going on, they can get really hurt. Mookie Wilson, remember what happened to him? He got hit in the eye with the ball. I mean, you got to be people. So just understand, if they're not cursing you out, they're working.
Yeah, and and I'm sure, the same people that are getting upset, I'm sure that player hearing number 92, come here. That's right. Like going to Publix or Walmart and saying, "Hey, vegetable boy, come over here, sign my paper." That's honestly that.
I'm going to be sleeping tonight at 3 a.m. and I'm going to hear vegetable boy.
But like, it's just, you don't go up to an associate at the store, like, hey, can you please help me or whatever. Or if it's not their department, they'll still help you.
Right.
So when we're yelling number 92 to somebody, odds are, it's not exactly what they want to hear. I'm sure if it's a kid, they it's one thing or whatever, but especially as adults, let's look at what we're doing here. And it's been hard. I remember taking friends along the way through the years where they'll dip in the second inning. Oh, I'm going to go stand by the gate by the bus so I can get their autographs when they leave. It's like, well, what are we doing here? Like, I know autographs are important and all that kind of stuff, but you're missing 8 innings of baseball to stand by a fence to hopefully get a photo or a picture. Like, I don't know, maybe that could have been done 20 years ago when ticket prices, you can go for $8, but nowadays I'm sitting in my seat and I'm not leaving in the
100%. 100%. So, and I know I'm going to sound like the old man yelling at clouds, but I tell you, one of the best times I had, and it was at a Fresno Grizzlies game that I was not covering from the press box, and I said there were no hubris. I was there in the stands, and I went with my neighbor, Vietnam vet, wonderful guy, David, and him and I went, and we're both kind of nerds about baseball. And we did not talk for 8 innings. The first inning we talked, got you hot dog, got you refreshment. Okay, we sit down. Do you know what we did?
Tell us.
We scored the whole game.
It was
so much fun. So much fun. When was the last time you did that? Wasn't that fun as a kid, right? You take out a piece of paper. And you do it.
I remember still doing it, but I remember the last time going to a spring training game, and by the 5th inning, like everyone was taken out of the line, like literally everyone. And then some people, there were 2 number 2s and 2 number 91s. And so at that point I was like tall 91 and short 91, like blonde 91 and redhead 91. Like it was at some point you have to stop. But in a regular game, I would definitely do that. I still enjoy doing that to this day, keeping score and stuff. At the major league level, you do have to keep, be a little bit more with the balls and strikes and, L7 and an F6, whereas like when you do it with softball, you just put out or not. But
so let me ask you this. Because when you would hear Gary, Keith, and Ron talk about this, when they had the shift before they banned it, how would have you scored, the second baseman who's playing, in the shortstop position? Did you still call it, did you call it was it a 6 or did you call it a 4? What'd you call it?
That's a good question. I think my brain would have gone, okay, I remember in my head where they caught the ball and he was standing where the second baseman was. So I would go to the 4, even if it was the short, like whoever is physically in that spot. I think that's where I would go. And hi, Mom, I see you here in the comments watching along. I know Mom is a huge Kansas City Royals fan. She bleeds royal blue.
And I want to know why she's laughing at us. Why is she laughing at us? There's no need to laugh. We'll take our jobs.
I think she was laughing at the vegetable boy comment, if I had to guess.
Let's hope. That's what she's telling us.
Yes, if I had to bet. So I'm going to do a quick rapid fire here for you. So I don't know if you see the notes, but I'm going to pretend you don't see the notes. So I'm going to give you.
Actually, I don't really.
Okay. Oh, cool. Okay. So I'm going to give you 8 quick who do you takes. This is different time periods and stuff. So just shout out or not too loud, but shout out your answer for these 8 quick takes. So we'll start. If you're ready, I will start with the first one. All right, here we go. It's going to be 8 rapid fire questions. Here we go. Mark Gubicza or Kevin Appier?
Kevin Appier.
Okay. Brett Saberhagen or Zach Greinke?
Absolutely Brett Saberhagen. Not even close.
Not even close. Awesome. Jess Montgomery or Dan Quisenberry?
Dan Quisenberry. Come on.
Or silly. Sorry, that was an easy one. Joakim Soria or Greg Holland?
Greg Holland.
Greg Holland. Okay.
Because
this is almost unfair, but George Brett or Salvador Perez?
George Brett. He's Mr.
Sorry, Salvador. We appreciate you. But any other pair, maybe. Mike Sweeney or Eric Hosmer?
Ooh. Wow.
They both played that same position, so it's tough.
Exactly. And they really are the same person. I'm going to say Sweeney.
Sweeney. Okay, and hi, Heather and Mom. We see you both on there. Thanks for joining us, Heather. I appreciate it. Last two for you, Alex Gordon or Carlos Beltran?
Beltran.
Okay. And Bobby Witt Jr. or Bo Jackson? Oof.
Bo Jackson.
But, yes. Now, I purposely did that because I wanted to make sure we don't overreact. We know Bobby Witt could be the next big thing, or he is the next big thing. But let's slow down a little bit. He's on year 2 or 3. He hasn't put a career effort, so I'm glad that you picked Bo Jackson in that one. So,
people, there's this thing called YouTube. Seriously,
yeah,
I don't know how we did it. Remember that time? And it's funny. I was watching a video about this on TikTok when Bo Jackson climbed the wall with his feet to just stop running. Remember?
Yes.
How did
I remember? Yeah,
how did he do that?
When I think Bo Jackson, I think that, and I think him breaking bats across his knee. Like those are the two visuals in my head. And those of you that just joined us, I want to make sure you understand. So we are talking Kansas City Royals. We were going to have a guest on, Jacob Millam from the Royals Rundown podcast, but he's had some technical difficulties, so we will try to reschedule our podcast with him. So we're just talking Royals ourselves because we are ready for baseball season. Is just a week away from spring training, so we are primarily a baseball channel. So you'll still see some cool specialty stuff, but we are going to talk a lot more baseball here as the season starts ramping up. So that was a fun little quick take there. Of
I love that. Seriously, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And no, definitely. I wanted to talk just for a moment about Kauffman Stadium. So one of the things we like to do also here on the podcast is talk about the stadiums and stuff. So just a fun fact, when it first opened, the stadium included, and this is the Royal Stadium, a 322-foot wide water spectacular. And when it opened was actually the largest privately funded fountain in the world. So I know, like, you can play in the video games. Like, I always like playing in Kansas City Stadium.
Yes, me too.
To see that. So, and now it actually, up to nowadays, it actually extends to the left field corner. So, you want to, when you go to a stadium, yes, you want the sights and the sounds and the smells and all that stuff, but there should be something unique to the stadium. And so Kauffman Stadium, I think, has sustained, even though it's been around for as long as it has. It's been, I think they update with the times. And I think that's why a lot of people really enjoy that stadium, and it's a beautiful stadium. And you've never been, correct, to that?
No, I have not been to that stadium. I've wanted to very much.
Yeah, that would be a great one. But we know, guys, that the Royals have won 2 World Series championships, 1985 and in 2015. That was the year we'd like to forget as Mets fans. But we all knew the better team won that year. So Royals did earn that one for sure. I'm going to go over a couple of – I have 4 here, if you remember them or not. Because so many different moments. But talking about some of the best moments in Royals history here, one of which stands out, the 1985 World Series Game 7. Those that may not remember, I was only 4, but they actually defeated the Cardinals 11-0 in Game 7 of the World Series that year. So big win there. Do you remember also in 2014, they had the AL wildcard game. They were down in the 12th inning, I don't know if you remember, and came back to win that game. Do you remember that one? Or?
I do remember that. I don't remember as much as I remember some of the others, but I do remember that, yes.
That one, yeah. Another big one, the 2015 AL Championship Series, Game 6. They defeated the Blue Jays. There was a really long rain delay, and I believe the pitcher had an hour between pitches, and that actually made it to their second straight World Series to win it that year. And then, of course, when you think Kansas City Royals, the name that comes to mind more than any other name, of course, is George Brett.
Freddie Patek.
Back in 1980, he got a 401 batting average in late August, which was like unheard of. So that's a big moment. Any other big Royals memories or moments that stood out to you besides those?
Well, there's a couple. And ESPN, which used to be a wonderful station to watch, when they just kind of stuck to sports, and I'm not getting into other stuff, but you used to be able to put it on, and they could be showing you highlights of the 1977 World Series or this kind of this, instead of some of this other stuff that you're like, well, I don't want to watch any more pickleball. Pickleball is great for people my age to play, but I don't want to watch. I don't want to watch darts. I don't want to watch tag. I'm just anyway. I bring all that up because when the Royals would play the Yankees in '76 and lose, '77 and lose, '78 and lose, and then come back and beat them in the World Series, that showed such intestinal fortitude. And when they beat them in '80 after the strike, '81 rather. Those are what I remember. I remember the 400 chase by George Brett. I remember just the fact that they played National League Baseball. That's why I always loved them. That beautiful stadium. You would always say there's any day there's a chance for an inside the park home run because you had Willie Wilson in center field. You had some great players. You had Quisenberry, like you mentioned him earlier. You had Darrell Porter behind the plate. They were just a wonderful team to watch. Big John Mayberry. I mean, they just had some wonderful players. I'll tell you a funny thing, and then just to kind of like tie up my memories of the Royals. Craig Nettles was a wonderful third baseman for the Yankees. Remember him?
I do.
Yep. Okay, so Game 7. Look this up, of the 77 World Series, of the 77 ACL championship game. George Brett slides hard for a triple to lead off the game, or second inning maybe. Slides hard into Craig Nettles. They get into a brawl. I mean a brawl. Punches, not just push. I mean, they're punching like the hockey players. And you know what? They broke up the fight. The umpire let them both play.
Now, do you think because of the significance of the game?
Yes.
Or yes. Yep.
Game 7. You're not going to throw people out Game 7.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's just not. It's like, do you know when Nolan Ryan and Robin Ventura got into that fight? Neither one was thrown out.
Yeah.
That would never happen these days.
Yeah, I know. I would. That's when I would phone a friend. You do it. I'm not doing it. You.
That's right.
You do it.
That's why you have backbenchers. Your backbenchers are the ones you're going to be a fight. You don't let it be your star players because you're going to get kicked out. But no, they knew it was Game 7, and they did not want to throw out. And it was just good hard play. I mean, it was fine. But they were punching each other in the face.
Yes. We're all fine now. Yeah.
Yes, we're good now. So
like WWE, they tear each other limb from limb and steal chairs in the ring, and they get to the back and go to Denny's afterwards.
No, 100%. So I have 2 questions for you before we go, if that's okay.
Okay. Yep, I'm ready.
And then a surprise thing I want to share with you. So first one is, you mentioned George Brett and his pursuit for 400. Will you and I see a 400 hitter in our lifetime?
Now you're saying by the end of the season?
Yeah.
No, I think we might see a sniff, like a 380, a 390. I think the pitchers are just too good now. There's too. Now I understand back in the day, like, pitchers pitched into the 8th inning, the 9th inning, and things like that. And so I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but even the best pitchers, they might have been held in the game too long. And so maybe that's why some of the batting average used to be a little bit higher, is because they were facing people for the 3rd or the 4th time. But now in 2025, where, you're at 60 pitches in the 5th, we're going to have to take you out. Oh, you've only given up 1 hit and 1 walk. Yeah, we're going to have to go to the bullpen. The guy that gives up a run every time he comes in, we're going to bring him in the game now. Unless
we're going to bring Doug Sisk.
Right. So when I say no, it's only because right now we're in the soft period where the starter can't go 6 innings. And so unless that changes, then I would say no, just because they're going to be facing guys in the 6th, 7th inning that have lights out stuff. And so to be able to keep that up is not.
That's a great point. That's a great point. So if you don't get your hit by like your second, third at bat, might not be too good for you. You're not going to hit 400. That's
right. It's not like in a video game where
it's like that.
If you're a starting pitcher in a video game and you should be putting in a different pitcher, but the guy's huffing and puffing and he's got like power of 40 and he throws the ball, you're gonna hit bombs for days in the video game.
He's gonna tee off on it.
Yeah.
So my second thing is, I know you're a softball guy. You play softball, and I used to coach Division I softball in college and head coach of a high school team. Did you hear what happened to Virginia Tech this week?
I did not. I'm interested to hear what happened.
So Emma Lemley, I did a thing on this on my social media, had a perfect game. Now, here's the thing. Back-to-back perfect games.
That's ridiculous. So those that may not know, a perfect game is not only, we've all heard of no hitters. A perfect game is when you don't give up a hit, you don't walk anybody, and you don't make a single error. Like you don't drop a single ball or your defense the entire game. So one perfect game happens maybe every 5 to 7 years if we're lucky. 2 back-to-back perfect games that's like video game. Like I gave up a hit, I'm going to restart the game until I get a perfect game. Like that's the only way to really get 2 perfect games in a row. So,
and this blew my mind because I took a deep dive in this because I was so impressed with Emma Lemley's performance. So I watched a YouTube interview with her. Prior to the first of her 2 perfect games, she was throwing another perfect game until the last inning. Someone bunted for a hit. What's your thoughts?
I know people say it's cheap or whatever, but like
that's how I feel. I know where you're going. That's how I feel.
You got to get on base, and it's. I think my mindset's changed. Younger, maybe not as mature, or just not know as much about the game. But unless you're doing something where it's ridiculous, I think it's okay to do that. It's you got to prepare for that. So
in my opinion, you just hit it. If you ever look up Emma Lemley's interview on that, it'll pop up. She said that made her more aware for the next time someone tried to do that to her, because they tried to do it in the second game that she threw the perfect game on. She just came up. She knew to bounce on that. And they tried it, and they weren't able to be successful because she was ready. That first time she was not.
Right. Yep. No, I'm glad you brought that up because that was definitely interesting. Probably won't see that ever again at any level. That's
no.
Insane.
Twice in the same week, back to back.
Yes. What do you call it? So again, just wanted to those of you that came on expecting to see Jacob with the Royals Rundown podcast, we are going to reschedule. He had some technical glitches on his end, so he was not able to join us, but we'll get him back on. But
ready for some fun?
Like Heather here said happy to be here, learn some things and laugh. I'm excited for the subscriber growth. Thank you, Heather.
Thank you, Heather.
Missing that 1,800 number, so believing for it by the end of March. So it'll happen. I think we're like less than 30 subs away, so we know that will happen.
Hey, Heather, will you want to be our make our choice for us tonight with the surprise I have? Mm-hmm. All Heather has to do is tell us left hand or right hand.
Okay. Heather, you've been asked to participate in this group activity. We got okay. Is it Tops on one side? I can't make out.
One's on top. One is that, and one is Tops archive baseball cards, like old baseball cards, reprinted. So one is archive baseball. That's in the right hand, and the left hand is your standard 25 card Tops pack. We're going to open them together and have some fun.
Okay. Heather is thinking about responding.
It's a definite maybe.
Yes. we'll give her a couple.
If not, you can decide.
Okay. We'll give her 5 seconds. 2, 1. Okay. We'll go with the Tops.
No, they're both Tops.
Well, so the white.
The white. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Here we go. Ready? First of all, these packages look totally different, right?
Yes.
So, all right. Ooh. Same smell.
And there's no bubble gum in this pack, right?
No.
No stale bubble gum.
No.
I missed
First,
that.
we got a Yankee. Dun, dun, and I am old. I can't read what that says. Okay, good. You got San Francisco Carlos Martin. And I know you wanted this guy. I feel like we're doing a Met game when the game's out of hand. A White Sox. You know these are going really fast, right?
Yes.
So this is Anthony Benatino.
Okay.
All right. Christopher Sanchez. I want to see for Eileen if we have any Rays in here. But right now we have. I've seen him play in person. Angel Amador from the Colorado Rockies. We got Cleveland. We got De La Cruz from the Pirates. Let's see. Chase, go through these. So, because I'm going to hang up. I'm going to go soon. Ooh. These are my favorite growing up. The inaction cards. So it wasn't just somebody, got that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, got another inaction card. All right. So are we going to have a lot of this look this year still? For like the last couple of years, we had the guys looking like a lumberjack.
That's good. Yeah. Hopefully not, but
yes, hopefully it's okay to shave, people. Just saying, you do you, and that's all about it.
Especially if you're on the Yankees, you must shave to be on.
Yes.
Yep.
Baltimore Orioles in their City Connect uniforms, lousy uniforms, especially when they have such a nice normal uniform.
Yeah, don't need to mess with that too much.
Okay, look at this. Ooh, I don't know, what is this? Somebody's explain this one to me. If you know, seriously, let us know in the comment section. It comes with like a felt thing. This is an autograph relic card. Autograph card. Very nice.
It's like a felt thing?
Yeah. And it is Patrick Bailey. Ooh. I'm glad I got that. Okay. And we got Amador again. A couple of sparkly cards. We like that. Ramirez. Okay.
If it sparkles, you always feel like it's that much more special. Sparkles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We got Brew Crew. We got Tigers. We got Bailey. Let's see. Do we get any? We got Astros. We got Josh Hader. All right. We have Luis De Santos. No. Casey Mays. That was the last card, kids. So thank you for joining us with that. That was good. We got 25 cards. And what we'll do next week, we'll open up this baby. We'll open up this baby next week.
The other one? Okay. We will do that. So those of you wondering, next week, we will be having a super fan on of the Toronto Blue Jays. His name is Joshua. And so we will get to know him a little bit. And we'll talk Toronto Blue Jays baseball. And we'll open that pack together live on stream. So that'll be February 23rd. We'll be live for that. So 1 week from tonight. So we're going to also, as we sign things off here, just a quick update of what's to come. So tomorrow night, we will be live once again for the Monday Night Raw live stream. A good friend of mine, his name is Devon. Him and I will be talking all things WWE as we watch Monday Night Raw on Netflix together. The big main event tomorrow night is Finn Balor and Seth Rollins fighting for that last spot in the Elimination Chamber to try to punch their ticket to WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas. But we will also be live on Thursday night, which is a rare thing for myself and Darren to be live. We will have a super fan on of the Chicago Cubs who lives in Denver. His name is Paul Shellcross, so he'll be on with us late on Thursday evening. So look out for that.
Great.
Yep, it's going to be a lot of fun. And some other great guests to come. Also, guys, keep an eye out on I'm super excited about this, on February 25th. For 30 straight days, we will be going live because from February 25th on, there are 30 days until the start of the MLB baseball season. I'm not talking about the Tokyo series. Yes, that's mid-March, but then there's spring training after that. So the official
doesn't count.
Yeah, it doesn't count. But starting on February 25th, our new series called 30 Parks in 30 Days will drop every day. You'll get a new video. It'll be about 10 to 12 minutes long. We're going to talk about a different team each day, talk about their lineup, their rotation, where we expect them to finish. Are they making the playoffs? Are they going to Disney World? Are they sad? Are they depressed? What's going to happen? We're going to find out together. We're going to work through this. Rockies fans, we are here for you. It's gonna be rough. But thank you guys for joining us here tonight on the stream. One of my favorite points of the week, like Darren mentioned earlier, is spending this time together on Sunday night. So we will see you same bat time, same bat channel a week from tonight. And like I said, this Thursday as well. So until next time, guys, please hit like button, smash the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Help us get to 1,800. We appreciate it. And again, guys, once we hit that 2,000 mark, we will personally pick one of our listeners to receive that Around the Ballpark mug as a token of our thank you. So till next time, folks, we will see you around the ballpark. Bye, guys.